So I am currently headed up to Virginia to hang out with the Winburn Steel guys. I'm going to be doing kind of a 4-day, week-long-ish, and we're going to be making a multi-bar SEAX. It's a little daunting. You know, that's what you got to do. Step out of your comfort zones. I always like to rope somebody in to come with me on these trips. Most of the time it's Wes, but I'm doing this all by myself. Yes. How good. Gold Papa! Gold Papa! And after a couple hours of driving, I made it to my campsite, nestled in a valley near Shenandoah National Park. Now, this place is kind of catered towards horse people, but other than that, it was pretty good. Alright, so this will be home for the next week. I got my table, seat, nice tent here. Put the red light on for ambiance, and nice view. After I got myself situated, I took pictures of all the maps and things, kind of so I could get the layout of the campsite and other things to do around the camping area. All right, night one, survived. Cooking coffee, got the AeroPress rolling, so that'll be nice. I think I'm gonna try to check out Shenandoah, because you know there's mountains, Gandalf, mountains. You gotta do a little hike or something. So I just went up the road. They got a little general store. Got some milk, butter. The eggs were from my mom, and I got my bag of ice under there. But I'm now going to go hike at Hazel Mountain. It's like about 20-ish minutes or so from here, so not too far. And do a nice little loop hike. It's just a vineyard, hanging out. Maybe some wine tasting after hiking. So the hike begins. You can't drive up the road to access the trail, so I had to park down off the road. So you hike up this this driveway kind of thing a little bit, and then you can access the loop. Happy little bumblebees. I found me some sassafras. Now, who the heck decided to build a home all the way up here? So I'm currently almost halfway, and it's been basically all uphill. I put a little bit of water on my hat, and my arms might have gotten a little wet, but most of this is sweat. Almost back to the water. I can hear it. While I was crossing over here, I stepped in the water, so my foot is completely soaked. So I'm gonna let my socks dry on the rock. Well, that's not fun. Oh, better. So I just stopped in this random winery and picked up a bottle for the missus. But it's just kind of cool being able to get something like this. And it came right from that field over there. The vineyard is Ducard. But when I pulled up, they had this awesome blacksmith sign. It's pretty cool. So here's a pro tip for you. After people leave their campsites, go forage for some half-burned pieces of wood and like the bigger coals, because all that still burns. So that way you don't have to pay for extra firewood. All right, so here's what's for dinner tonight. Got some Mountain House chili mac and beef. I'm gonna be frying 2 eggs, put in there. So while this is percolating with the hot water in it, I'm gonna fry up some eggs and throw it in there too, get some extra protein. All right, day one of the multi-bar SEAX class. After all the tire fiascos and everything, looking forward to just having a day to be a sponge and soak up as much knowledge as I can. So this should be a lot of fun. So when I got there, they had cleaned up the shop all nice and pretty, so that way it was ready to rock and roll for our class. Dale was waiting down in the shop, and then we started discussing what we wanted to accomplish with our SEAX. So as you can see with this written down here, the steel that we were going to make the edge out of was different from the steel we were using for the twist. And the main thing to take away from that is that the twist Damascus both have lower carbon, and so what that allows is you to make more twists without your bar shearing. A lot of times with twists, they found out that if you use like your standard 1095 and 15 and 20, the bars were prone to shear, and so this helps it go a lot smoother. Once we got our edge billet welded up and our twist billet welded up, we threw it in the forge and then started fluxing the doof out of it. They said you can never use too much flux, and so I took that literally, and we just coated the billets in it. This eats away the oxidization, so that way you have clean metal on clean metal when it gets to the plastic state for forge welding. So here you see me using the Coal Iron Works 16-ton, I believe, setting my first forge weld ever on Damascus, and it was pretty sweet. So the way we divvied this up is, rather than me working on both billets 100% of the time, Dale took the twist bar billet and I took the edge bar billet. That way we could work a little bit more efficiently and get the billets banged out pretty fast. We used the hot cut, fold, and stack method, which was pretty cool because what you see a lot of times on shows like Forged in Fire and even some other, popular YouTubers and things like that, they'll draw a billet completely all the way out and then cut it up into, like 8 tiles, clean every single one, and then have to re-stack them up, re-weld them, re-forge weld it, and all that. Whereas this way, you're working everything entirely hot and just making sure you're keeping it clean with flux. So once you get that hot cut through there, you just simply fold the billet back over on itself. Make sure you flux it really good, get it back in the heat, and then keep cracking on it, and then you can build up layers really fast this way. The other thing that happened is in that pocket fold that was pretty cool is when you would put the flux in there and then hammer it together, it would sometimes kind of like pop and explode. And one time that happened, and it sounded like a gunshot, and the billet actually like blew back open and kind of scared the bejesus out of me and Dale. But we were all right. We had a good time. So a lot of this footage is just that process of hot cutting it, restacking it, forge welding it, and continuing that process over and over and over, which is much more exciting than just being at a grinder all the time. At this point, I was on my last cut and fold, and Dale's billet was already beginning to get drawn out because we were doing less layers for the twist bars, and we had to draw the billets out double length because we were making 2 blades. And working on both billets right here is probably my favorite moment of the entire week. Pretty toasty, boys. Pretty toasty. I've just made it back to camp after the first day of our multi-bar SEAX class in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. These white lines you see, you might be asking, what the heck is that? That's sweet and condensed sweat. Dale could not believe that I sweat so much that I have little salt deposits all over my body. I'm gonna cook dinner, get a shower, rest up for tomorrow, because today was 110 degrees in the smithy. It's quite toasty. All right, day 2. Ready to rock and roll. Made my coffee, repping Black Booger Gang today. Today we're going to be splitting the bars lengthways and creating our twist bars and our edge bars that will be eventually forge welded onto each other. So still quite a bit of hot work today, I think, but not as much as yesterday. After we got the bars split up, we put them in the forge to make sure they were perfectly square in the coal iron press, and then we proceeded to twist them up. So we weren't going for any specific twist count. If you're doing like interrupted twist and things like that, that's a little more important, but for what we were doing, we were just going for the maximum amount of twists. This process goes way smoother with two people because you can have one guy with the torch and one guy twisting. And so using the torch and a combination of the little squirty bottle, you're able to control the heat and make sure you get really even twists. Next was a very crucial part in the process of making a multi-bar SEAX, and that is re-squaring your twists. So if you don't do this, and you just started forging it out, like say you used a larger piece of twist damascus to make one knife out of, it could start to unravel and do a bunch of nasty stuff. So one, it's important to make sure the bar stays together, but two, it's important for us because we have to restack all these bars on top of each other.
Okay, so just keep doing this until it's like black hot.
After making sure our twist bars were re-squared, we also made sure that the edge bars were to their final dimensions. Finally got our main bars finished up. Twisty boys, edgy boys. Pretty good time.
Yeah.
Dale did something for the first time today.
Yeah, I put it back together, a bar with like 4 shears in it, so we'll see how it looks when we get to it.
Very impressive. And now we'll be on to grinding and stacking the whole knife
Cleaning
fillet.
these up, stacking them together, and welding it. As you can see, this got a leak because I dropped the sword, and my sword's been very pointy lately.
It made a quick etch test baby bucket.
Yep.
Can we see it? I can't tell. Yeah, I see it.
You see the black and white line.
So after figuring out which direction the Damascus went, we stacked our billets up and then welded one end. The reason we needed to know which direction our edge billets were was because we were orienting them 2 different ways. So at the end you'll kind of see what the difference is with that. The other important thing is by welding one end, when you are forge welding these stacks together, it allows it to shift around and self-adjust, and that's why on the other end you use wire. And you can use this for a really big sword billet or a small knife billet. Using this process allows the bars to kind of wiggle at their own pace, and if you just take it nice and easy, you can get it to stick together fairly well without any complications. So for this being kind of my first time really doing a lot of forge welding, as well as this process, it made it super easy, super smooth, and less scary.
Almost all the way.
You could roast a weenie on this.
Really high twist count.
End of day 2 video. I think it'll be pretty sweet, as we say in the industry. But yeah, now I'm chilling, reading. I got a nice view for the most part. You know, that's an outhouse, but it's a cute outhouse. You know, what can I say? I like a cute outhouse. So, anyways, I will see y'all tomorrow. Today is Thursday. It's gonna be our 3rd day with the Winburns, and it'll be really fun because now we're going to be forging our blade shape. That'll be really cool. Hopefully nothing falls apart. Fingers crossed. Everything looked pretty solid. Right when we got into the shop, I traced my design onto the metal table with some soapstone. That way, while we were working the steel hot, we could go back over there and reference it. That way we could forge it to shape the best we could. And once the knife billets had warmed up, we started forging away. So this part here with the tire hammer, we were getting the taper from the top of the broke back all the way to the tang forged in first. That way, when we flipped it around, we didn't have to mess anymore with the tang area, and then could focus on the tip later on.
Just gonna do this by hand.
Here we are forging our tang in. We were doing it with some really small fuller dies because we don't need a lot for the tang from the Damascus billet, because we're going to forge weld on a mild steel bit later on, which is what you're seeing right now. So we just took a little piece of mild steel, forge welded it on there. That way we knew we would have more than enough for our tangs. This was also something that was traditionally done on SEAXs as well, because you wanted to use as much good steel for the blade section that you could. Now we are forging in the main bevel. And when we did this, I kind of didn't understand the assignment and focused a little too much on the edge when I should have been focusing on kind of beveling the entire blade. It ended up working out. It was fine. Using this two-tong method to do some bevelification was pretty cool and a lot of fun. This is the kind of final part of forging the blade shape. So working on the really big, nice, like sword makers, Holland anvil to refine the kind of broke back shape, make sure the knife was all straight and everything. And then when we were satisfied with how the profile ended up, we started whacking on it with the wood hammer to finalize the straightness of our blades. Because you want to make sure you have good straight blades, otherwise it'll be a little funky.
You got quality control over here. Yeah. Alright, we gotta check these things out. We're gonna grade them.
After getting Mark's seal of approval on what me and Dale had sought out to do, we started profiling our blades to get them ready for heat treat. So after you have it quenched, you have a little bit of time to make sure it's straightened out and everything, and this happened. So we lost a little bit of the tip of mine during straightening, but it's very minuscule. We'll be able to course correct with some tasteful reprofiling. Right there. Where's he at? There he is. Pink. All better. It's from Japan.
Yeah. Super fun. From Japan.
That's that glassy sand they always talk about. So the knife ended up fine. You know, we didn't have to start completely over and everything, so that was a relief. And then it was on to tempering. And while the blade's tempered, we talked over some design plans, which I'm really excited to do a second video on. After temper, we started on probably the most daunting process of this entire thing, and that's doing finish grinding, which I am not confident in at all. So we've done all the grinding we're gonna do. Now we're gonna do what a vanity etch.
Vanity etch.
So that way we can feel better about ourselves.
Thank you.
Teamwork. Dunkaroony.
I like it. Better.
Alrighty, so it is end of day 3 in the beautiful little valley that I'm in. We got a lot done today. I had to look back at my pictures to see what all we had done, because everything's starting to blend together. But today we started with our raw welded billet of the 3 twist and 2 high layer count Damascus, and started forging out our blade shape. Got our blade shape, got it quenched, heat treated, tempered, all that, and started grinding. And then at the end of the day, we did a little vanity etch to kind of see what the pattern was looking like. But yeah, tomorrow's just going to be a lot of grinding and hand sanding and get a good finish on it. Already kind of figured out a design for handle materials and stuff that I'm going to do on it when I get back home. So yeah, a busy day. It's crazy when you have to look back at your pictures to see what all you completed. So yeah, started from raw bars and got a big old pointy thing. So 4th day, a part of the final sanding and finishing also comes final straightening. And this was a really cool process, because when you're working with especially longer knives or swords or anything like that, as you grind them, they heat up and they change, you know, at different rates, and they'll get a little bent and things. And so it was really cool being reassured that it's super easy to come back in, straighten it up a little bit, just make sure you don't get past temper colors, and everything will be completely fine. So it's not catastrophic, it's not the end of the world. You just heat it up a little bit, give it a little bendaroony, and you're good to go. This is up to 800 grit. Very skeezy. This is first round of etching. And we're gonna, steel wool it again and then neutralize it.
And then see if we need to do any more, which we probably will.
high quality. And that's it, the finished blade. 64 layer edge, 32 twist in the middle. Turned out absolutely sick. And I can't thank Dale and Mark Winburn enough, and NC Abana for this opportunity. Sweet. So we just take like a even.
Yeah, I think you want to be nice and parallel with the ground so you're not pushing the bottle.
Slicing motion. I'm gonna try to hit that line.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think a lot of it is skill of the cut and how sharp the blade is, so we can do it a couple times.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Alright. It's like cutting tuna. So, last day. It was just a lot of sanding. Learned more about the process of kind of straightening, because as you add heat while you're grinding, it can bend, and so it's not a big deal. Apparently, you can just straighten it back up. So that was pretty cool. So did some sanding processes and some etching processes and some sharpening processes, and we got mine stupid sharp. The big orange. Got up at 6:30. Campsite is all packed up. Time to head home. Back in the home state. Woohoo! Again, I can't thank Dale and Mark Winburn enough. Especially Dale, because he was like the main one teaching me. And he was such a good teacher and mentor in this whole process. And I also can't thank NC Abana enough. They were the ones that gave me a scholarship to be able to take this class and go up there. And I just feel really blessed to have the opportunity to do all this. So just yeah, I just am thankful, and can't really express it very well. But look forward in the future for a video coming out hopefully soonish of me getting this thing finished up. I have some really cool plans for the handle construction and some really cool plans for the sheath. As some of you know that are probably watching this, I primarily do leatherworking. So doing a traditional SEAX leather sheath for this thing is going to be a whole lot of fun. I have a couple motifs that I'm going to continue from the handle design onto the sheath that's going to look really cool. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. And putting up with my rambling and whatnot. So have a good rest of your day, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever the heck it is. Just have a nice time. All right, see ya.